to the 2016 Bound for Glory All-Star Super Show podcast. With TNA Dude and Raven Effect from the TNA Asylum Heelcast, BQ Will and Kyle from the King of the Mountain podcast, and FK9 from Stray Shooting. Bound for Glory, I knew you'd come.
Welcome everyone for this special broadcast this evening where my intrepid cohorts and myself will be reviewing TNA's Bound for Glory. This broadcast, if you heard the other our previous super podcast, I am William, along with Kyle, my co-host from King of the Mountain podcast, TNA Heelcast.
Feels good to be back.
It's good to get an invite and to be liked, isn't it?
I'm liking these wrestling podcast audio orgies we got going on over here, you know?
Let's not use the word orgies with four dudes with no chicks involved.
It's the audio orgasm.
Okay, I'll take that. That's better. That's just like some locker room stuff that you just don't want to think about. and also, we got TNA Dude, Raven Effect. Fellas, what's going on?
Hey guys, look, all I gotta say is I keep TNA Dude nearby at all times, so y'all can have your orgy. We're gonna do our own thing, all right?
Oh no! Hey, dude, I understand. I'm the same way because I'm ready to do some things that they couldn't put on HBO.
I just want to give a shout out to FK9 for the decrepit erection burn he gave on me last week. I know this is the worst time to bring up my decrepit erection, but as a fan of talking shit, I want to say FK9, that was one of the best burns I've gotten. Thank you. And I was not asleep at 9 p.m., motherfuckers.
So Raven Effect, your decrepit erection, it actually never gets brought up, okay?
Never. Can't get up.
But I understand you burn it all the time, so I'm just throwing that out there for you, buddy.
I what all the time? Burn it?
That's right.
I do go after some classy ladies, that's for sure.
Yeah. Did you have one nearby when you watch Bound for Glory, or would that be too distracting?
I tried to get one over with Bound for Glory. It just didn't work out. It was a whole, it's just they don't want me thing, so, you know. I actually censored myself.
I understand FK9 rubbed one out for Robbie E, though.
I'm sure he did. He was so disappointed when he lost the Bound for Gold match.
You know, I thought for a second. Well, you know what? I'll wait till we get to that point. Let's just kick this off. The first match: DJZ versus Trevor Lee, and going to turn to Dude. Your take on this?
I think it was great that they finally actually gave an X Division match some time. And you could tell they were going to give it time because the guys weren't moving at a brisk pace the whole time. So you knew that they were setting themselves up to be able to have a little bit longer match. The only thing that I'm going to say here is that I kind of would like to see Andrew Everett get a chance to show his stuff every now and again. It seems like they constantly put Trevor Lee in the ring. And Trevor Lee, look, buddy, you're great. There's absolutely no denying it. And I believe Josh Matthews when Josh says that Trevor Lee, pound for pound, may be the strongest guy on the roster. But, you know, we've seen a little bit out of Andrew Everett. It seems like it's a shame that we're not getting to see more. But the one thing I'm going to say is that the flip dive from DJZ, that was unbelievable. It was just, you know, I guess, what do they call it? The Canadian Destroyer, right? That was awesome as well. The reversals in this match were just outstanding. I mean, the ZDT guy reversed by Trevor Lee how many times? You know, the outcome here, guys, not a surprise, but it was so refreshing to see an X Division match. It was so refreshing to see an X Division match be given the time that it needed to develop.
You know, it's no surprise when you give the X Division guys a one-on-one match and enough time to go out there and do the thing. You have a fantastic match, and this is exactly what a lot of us have been saying. You guys talked about it on the show, on the Super Show preview. I was very, very impressed with this match. And I'll be honest, this is probably match of the night for me. I figured the X Division would kick it off. I expected Andrew Everett to be involved in this match too, but he wasn't. No Hurricane Helms either, but it was just one-on-one in a great match. Definitely some very good spots. I think Trevor Lee's shine showed what he could do because he's kind of been a little bit held back in the ring with TNA, it seemed, but he definitely wasn't tonight. DJZ shined more than anyone else, I think, as he has been doing all year long. And, it is disappointing to not see Andrew Everett. And I think with Bound for Gold, you couldn't have thrown Mark Andrews and Andrew Everett in that match, too. I know we'll be getting there, but disappointing that we didn't see those two. But this match was match of the night for me as far as the wrestling standpoint goes. And it was just a great match to have on the card and definitely a great addition.
Yeah, I really like this match a lot. What better way to hype up the crowd with a good old hard-hitting, high-flying X Division classic. Like said before me, I also probably would have liked to see Andrew Everett in this match. I could be wrong. I feel like we've seen DJZ versus Trevor Lee, maybe even multiple times. I don't know. I just feel like Andrew Everett versus DJZ would have been a little more refreshing. No Helms. I really like the Hurricane Helms as, a faction. Not Hurricane. The Helms Dynasty as a faction. I don't know where Helms was at. He hasn't been on TV in a little bit, and I didn't see him on camera at the show, so I hope that's not over. That's not a scrapped idea. I really like them as a team. So we'll see where they go with that in the future. But, yeah, this was a great match. So many great high-flying spots. Just what you'd expect from, two talents like these guys. DJZ, hopefully he takes this X Division title back to where it belongs. It's prestige.
One thing I'm going to say about this is that, of course, I feel it was an excellent match. The finish didn't quite see that coming in quite that manner. I want to see them do something more with Trevor Lee. I don't know if you have him in the X Division, if you get him. Well, no, I do know what they should do. Put him into that grand. Put him in a program with Rex somehow. Get in that title. Maybe not winning necessarily, but put him there because he's a guy with that style that can go anywhere. And TNA, what made the X Division so popular years ago was that you had guys that could, like AJ Styles, for instance, who could have that cruiserweight style and then go to the heavyweights and then be used everywhere. That guy has that talent. I like the match. Like Kyle, I would have loved to have seen Andrew Everett in it. I think that he is being underutilized. Hopefully, we see a nice program with Everett and DJZ. But for right now, DJZ's your champion as he prevailed against Trevor Lee in the match. The next thing to get into. Surprised there aren't many more people speaking about this. The Drew Galloway program. I'm going to turn it over to you, dude. What do you think about the Galloway promo?
Well, yeah. So I guess the first thing, I better talk about the promo itself just a little bit. He really, really wanted to wrestle, and he was upset that they wouldn't let him wrestle. And that's almost a face-ish type of thing to do. I mean, clearly he came off as a heel, but it was a little bit strange. What was really strange, and Will, this is what you're referring to, was the comment that he made about he's the reason Billy Corgan is buying the company. And that was something that I picked up on immediately. Some of the folks on Asylum picked up on immediately. And we talked about it, and then the next match went on. And kind of like Will said, it kind of dropped off the planet. Now, since that time, I've reached out to folks and contacts that I have within TNA, and I know that the folks from the King of the Mountain podcast have reached out to people as well. And there really does seem to be some form of a dark cloud. It appears at this point that Dixie Carter finally did actually address the talent, but it wasn't before Bound for Glory. So as you can imagine, the talent's out there wrestling, and they don't really know what's going on. The only thing that we're aware of is that Mike Johnson from PW Insider reported that she addressed the talent, and that she said that, there had been interest in purchasing the company by WWE. She had the opportunity to sell, and she did not do it. And she said she would not sell to them. We know that Billy Corgan was not in that particular meeting. And we know that somebody else funded this tapings, and it wasn't Billy. So the whole ownership is still up in the air. And just on a personal note, it really saddens me that the talent and the production crew are in this predicament. I mean, these are people that have worked their tails off for the last year, really longer than that, but the last year, this entire promotion has been on fire. You have people, they're putting it all on the line every single time they go out. They're all putting on matches. I mean, how many matches of the year are we possibly going to have, guys? It seems like every week there's a match of the year contender. And so it saddens me that these good people that are just trying to do their jobs they have this cloud over them. So hopefully we can get past this pretty quick. But yeah, guys, there was definitely the comment about Billy Corgan buying the company. And I, for one, would definitely be for that.
You talk about a black cloud, and it really is sad, but I feel like it's been like that for a few years now. Just recently, we've had this series of events, though, where it really seemed like to become a big problem, and it just sucks. Like you said, you got a lot of great talent there. If you're a wrestling fan and you wish a wrestling promotion on TV were to go out of business, then I couldn't even consider you a true wrestling fan. I just think that's messed up. I don't like country music, but I don't sit on social media and make jokes and rant about how I don't like country music. I just don't like it. I don't see how people get kicks out of being negative about something. I'll never understand it, but fuck the haters, like they say. But to this promo right here, I mean, Drew Galloway just he's popping the listeners. He's got his ear to the social media. He knows what the rumors are saying. It's like them addressing the people somewhat subliminally. I hope that's where they're going. I hope we get to see Billy Corgan get the company. I feel like that would be the best choice for them, but we'll see where they go. Dixie's still there. Dixie hasn't signed off yet, so stay tuned, folks.
Yeah, it was weird that Galloway went out and said that during the actual pay-per-view, during the promo. I actually had missed it at first. I went back and rewatched it. I heard everyone talking about it. It was nice to hear him say Billy Corgan's buying the company because of me, and hopefully that's the truth. But I still don't want to speculate too much because I really don't know what's going on. We heard the rumors today that Dixie did talk to that Dixie went out and talked to the talent. Said that she wasn't going to sell to the WWE. She'd never let that happen. I hope to God that is the truth. And yeah, I'm like you, Kyle. Like I despise the WWE. I do not watch that product. I will never watch that company again in my life. But it makes me sick the way that people are always saying, I want TNA to go out of business and stuff like that, or TNA just needs to die off or sell to Vince. It's disgusting. It's people's lives. It's an alternative product. So what if other people like it and you don't? I don't like country music either, but I'm not hoping that the genre dies off. It's just kind of ridiculous. And, it's like I don't watch Lucha Underground. I can't get into it, but I still hope that they thrive and succeed kind of a thing. But, it sounds like there's some positivity. But then again, are we going to be in this exact same boat with the next tapings, with Slammiversary and so forth? Something needs done because it's literally taxing on us as fans. It's got to be so much worse for the talents who actually their livelihood comes from this. And who's going to want to sign with TNA with all of this stuff going on? There's some names that are going to come up. Matt Taven being one of them. They got to do something.
Raven, to your point, I heard that promo, and I'm in my recliner, just like I am now, in my bedroom, hearing that, and I almost fell out of it. And I was asking myself, is he really trying to work the fans, or does he know something? And it was a good promo, which is amazing how you change a person's persona, and he's much, much better as a heel. and all his promos have been better since he flipped the switch. That promo is the reason why not just what he said about Corgan buying the company, but it's the reason why TNA has to be sold to anyone other than WWE. And it was passionate. He sold the injury. It was very believable. And I'm afraid of it being sold to the wrong company because there are people that have these people in the company. They have lives, they have families, they have wives, husbands, children, mistresses, misters, and probably a couple whores on the side. They got to be able to afford all that stuff. This goes away. That doesn't happen. And is the wrestling world really going to be any better with just WWE being the main competitor? I mean, there's no competitor being the only show in town. That's going to be like, I don't know. It's too much like the NBA where you go into it every year knowing that only 3 teams are going to have a chance at winning. Vince does not need to have any more of a hold on the industry than he already has. And so I'm hoping with that promo, it gave me a little bit of hope that the right thing will happen. And besides, Dixie could lose money in the sale of TNA, and she's still going to be a multimillionaire. So so whatever she gets for the price, don't feel bad for her. She's going to be all right. She's going to go home to her mansion, and she's going to go ahead and kick off her heels or her boots or whatever, and she's going to have a grand old time when she goes to the bank. While the rest of us are going to be praying that the new owner does something useful and does the right thing. Speaking of right things, the next match was the Bound for Glory Battle Royal, in which Eli Drake won in a rather hilarious manner. Raven, going to you. You saw the match. Say how you feel about it.
I feel the only person that could have won the match won the match. To be 100% honest with you, like there was Jesse Goddard and there was Eli Drake, and I think there was maybe one other guy that I felt probably should be deserving of the title shot. I just can't think of who it was right now. And it was a decent match. Like, I enjoy the Gauntlet Battle Royal style. It didn't come down to 2 people, and there's a pinfall that seals it up this time around. I really actually thought for a minute that maybe Jesse Goddard as a dark horse was going to win because it seems like they're probably going to start pushing the guy a little bit more. The Grado part was probably the best part of the night. I'll go with that. And like I said, I think it's disappointing there was only 10 people. And why not add Mark Andrews and Andrew Everett, who are great talents who weren't featured on the card. But, this was a pretty decent thing for what it was. I mean, nothing special or spectacular except the guy who should have won it. Obviously, the crowd was behind Eli Drake as well. They were chanting, yeah, during the middle of the match. So it seems like he's catching on. It seems like Rockstar Spud is a happy cokehead these days, too, as well with his character. Rocking the braces. I'm happy as hell that Braxton Sutter didn't win either. I just want to go ahead and throw that out. But that was my thoughts on the match.
I don't know anybody who didn't want Eli Drake to win this match. I feel like this was for him. This is who better than the namer of dummies himself, Eli Drake. And yes, people, I just picked up my hand and did that thing with my finger that he does. So Eli Drake, he's got the title shot under his belt anytime. So keep your eye on Eli Drake because who knows what he's up to. You never know when he's coming around that corner.
Yeah, I'm with Raven Effect on this one. This is not a surprise. In fact, that's my last note on this match is outcome not a surprise. When you think about who could win it, I think, Eli Drake was pretty much the obvious choice. I think you could make an argument that maybe Tyrus could win it just because he's a big guy and he won once before. And you could always throw Jesse Goddard out there. Although, to be honest with you, as long as Jesse Goddard is part of the bromance, I don't think he's going to get a push. I don't think he'll get any kind of a push until they break up the bromance. And I don't see them doing that anytime soon because the tag division is pretty sparse. So I think he's just kind of like stuck in that corner. As far as this match, I have to agree with Raven Effect. I wouldn't call it maybe the spot of the night, but when Grado, ran in and ran out and just never stopped dancing, I kind of enjoyed that. And it wasn't. It was gold. It was gold, Kyle. It absolutely was gold, and it was gold because they got him on the show. It appeased the fans. He didn't do anything in the ring, but he did his little shtick. Hey, they paid for his flight to come down there anyway for the taping, so why not use him? And it allowed the match to not turn into a comedy act, but it still kind of gave it that little bit. The rest of it, I mean, let's face it, Braxton Sutter, he's not going to win. Baron Dax, I don't think so. Basile Baraka, not happening. Robbie and Spud and Shera, I mean, it's like who's gonna win this match? So I think the right guy got the match, won, and I think he got the title to put in his pocket. The one thing that I'll say though is that Eli Drake, he's not ready for a world title run right now, and I know everybody loves him, and he probably doesn't have a bigger fan than me, but he's been used as a comedy act. And he's sort of played the cowardly heel to the point where he's not really believable as a world champ. So what I'd like to see him do is spend the next 6 months or so building his character so his character can be a believable champ, and then have him do what Eli Drake would do, and that's wait till somebody gets beat up and then cashes title shot in immediately thereafter, and then hopefully they can do something where they have a show that's just a couple of days after maybe a pay-per-view or something, and he cashes it in so that he can maybe get somebody that's injured or something, because he does have to give 24 hours notice. But yeah, so I'm very happy that Eli Drake won. I just hope that they don't try to get him to use the title shot right away and have him job it out.
The one thing I did want to bring up, I want to give props to Rockstar Spud on when he tried to clothesline both Sutter and Goddard. That was hilarious. And the crowd, the Impact Zone, was pissed when Grado got eliminated so quick. It shocked me. That's all I have to say. I'm sorry for cutting in there, guys.
Oh no, you're you know what, that didn't really surprise me. But when you have matches like the Bound for Gold, you can make a guy's career. So, my question is to you all: why didn't anyone want to see Braxton Sutter win? Why
Because
not?
he's boring.
Why not him?
Because he's boring.
That's no BS.
And I think because the guy wanted one night only extravaganza. It seems like they're trying so hard to push this guy down our throats that he's to be better than he actually is. And I'm tired of seeing him in the X division when he doesn't fit in there, and he's getting X division title shots and being pushed as this big thing in the X division. It's just, it's bothered me and rubbed me the wrong way. And it's not the guy's fault at all. I don't know that he's boring. I actually think there is some potential there. He just doesn't get a chance to show it yet. But something's got to change. Something has to change with the guy. It really does. They got to do something.
I'll tell you what they got to do. They got to split him up from his wife, because she's just freaking hot. They need to give her to somebody else, like, I don't know, me. But and it doesn't.
Dude must have left the room for that one.
Do that. Hey, we that's how we roll sometimes. The thing about this is, hey, I am TNA Dude for all crying out loud.
If you guys do the open thing, tell her I said what's up.
No, it's not open that way, buddy. She's seen you before. She didn't want none of that. The one thing I will throw out here, though, is that I am TNA Dude, but if Billy Corgan changes the name of the company, I am going to wind up with a serious identity crisis, all right? But back to Braxton Sutter, and answer your question, Will, it's very hard for me to imagine how somebody whose wife has such an awesome character and is so believable, how he comes off as so robotic.
I have a theory.
Oh, that sounds good.
Perhaps because he doesn't have enough energy left over to put into a personality on screen.
Maybe.
I know I'm reaching. I hope so. But seriously, what you could do with a character like that, keep in mind, Lance Storm got over. If that guy could make it and was boring, you figure this guy could. So there is still a chance there. Eli Drake, you're not going to put him in the world title hunt, at least not yet. I don't want to see it jobbed out because in these type of matches, well, in these type of results of matches, which you can say, hey, I'm going to get a title shot anytime or within 24 hours notice of 7 days, you have a chance to really build someone. It has to be done the right way. So Eli Drake right now is definitely mid card. Whatever you do with him, I would say to everyone listening, whatever you do with this title shot, be wise about it. I caution you to treat it as if he just won something at the circus. If it is not handled the right way, he will never recover in TNA. This is a make it or break it moment for him. If they screw this up, they're going to take him off screen for 6 months and try to repackage him as something. So they got to get it right. We're moving on to the Moose versus Bennett match. This match had been built up for a very, very well. It was built up well for a long time. Really, since the beginning, you can kind of see that they were going to have someone. You knew Moose was going to turn sooner or later. You could just kind of tell Bennett really playing his role well. All of it culminated into this match. Kyle, start us off with your impressions on the match.
You know, I really liked the little preview promo vignette they played before this match. It's one of those simple things in wrestling. I love those all pay-per-views, really. I always like those little video segments they play before each match, to get you up there. Like, my buddy Cody was over my house. He watches TNA pretty casually. He's only seen a handful of episodes of this year, so it was good for him. He told me they did a good job, before each match of, he felt more invested into the matches, and this was one of them. And, I mean, you get Moose and Bennett. We knew this match was coming, from his debut. You just knew eventually that, their relationship would go sour. In wrestling, people don't really have good long-term relationships, Wrestling, shit goes wrong a lot. And another example of that, I mean, you knew Moose was going to go over. He needed the win more than Bennett. Bennett can take the loss and still look good. It just kind of fits into his character. That's my take on it personally. But yeah, it wasn't, the highlight of the pay-per-view, but it was definitely a good match. I thumbs up for me.
I thought this was a great match, actually. I thought that it was a little odd that this went on before Maria went on, although I realized later what they were doing. Basically, they were afraid of what would happen in the main event if it followed the Great War, so they put them in between to kind of, get the crowd going again. But I will say that I absolutely loved the way that Bennett came in. He ran around the ring and he attacked Moose after he re-entered. It was a very old school heel, pun not intended, buddy, if you're listening, type of thing to do. I thought Moose was really able to show his athleticism. And what I'm going to say here is that, it was interesting that watching Moose in the ring with Bennett versus what he did in, say, ROH. So if anybody out there also watches Ring of Honor, Moose always showed a lot of athleticism, but the matches were always missing something. And I think what you're seeing is that Moose is now against better competition. He's not wrestling against a Donovan Dijak, who's still a little rough around the edges, and some of the other folks they had him against in Ring of Honor. He's against a guy like Mike Bennett, and that better competition is really serving him well. Bennett's style, he's a larger man than some of the little guys in Ring of Honor, also helps Moose. So Moose is able to put on a big man's game with a lot of, high energy and high flying moves. So to me, the move from Moose from Ring of Honor to TNA really, I think, served him very well.
Yeah, I enjoyed this match. I thought it was a good match. It really was. The one thing that I disliked about it is I think that they could have showcased a lot of the athleticism that Moose has that was not able to be shown. Moose can do a lot of things for a guy his size that most guys his size cannot do, and that's what I found to be disappointing in this entire thing. You see Moose kind of do some high-flying stuff. Like I've seen him, grab the top rope and fly over the ropes. We've seen him do moonsaults. We saw what he did at Lethal Lockdown, where he kind of scaled off of the cage and stuff like that. I wish that they would have shown him, go out there and do things like that, which they didn't give him the opportunity to do so, but it definitely was not bad at all. The match was very good. I think the ending was kind of anticlimactic. I expected Moose to go over because they're pushing Moose really hard. I assume Moose is going to be the guy to challenge Bobby Lashley for the world title here soon. Maybe Moose will be the one to defeat him and win the belt. I don't know, but they're clearly going for Moose to get the big push. I'm a big Mike Bennett guy. I think Mike Bennett is definitely world championship material in the future, and I want to see a Bennett title reign myself. Bennett kind of ended up looking like a joke here overall, which we can kind of talk about later. But, he didn't get squashed by Moose at all. It was a good competitive match. I definitely enjoyed it on the show. You're probably right about the placement of it on the card. I think it started a little too early, but I'm not going to complain. It definitely did its purpose.
Well, I will complain about that. That should have happened after the Gail Kim ceremony. I liked the match. I don't know. It was a good. I liked the match, but is it my imagination or did it feel like there was something missing? It was like having one of your favorite dishes, but someone forgot to put enough salt in it, or they forgot to put some nutmeg in it or something. That's how I take it. Something just did not feel quite right to me. Well, like I said, I enjoyed it. I already had maybe because I already figured out who was going to win. We all had figured, okay, Moose is going to win, but good match. But it just still felt like there was something missing. Just my opinion there. Moving on, we have Aaron Rex and Eddie Edwards, Grand Champion, and I liked the match. I liked Eddie Edwards, but this is a match in which I felt that boring. Aaron Rex promos have gone from being excellent to, in this short period of time, to being pretty much, like I would say, almost cliche. And it's not the same excitement. I expected more as far as the ring work. He wins it. Not sure how long he keeps it. But once again, I am not too thrilled. I wasn't too thrilled with him. And someone just sent something about Awesome Kong that I won't even say. I won't even say on the air. It almost distracted me. Raven Effect.
Yes, sir. Good old Awesome Kong. I do miss that woman to death. It was nice to see her, which I guess we can talk about a little later. But you said it was boring. I don't know that I'm going to go that far. I actually enjoyed this match. I thought it was a good wrestling match. And again, I don't like the breaks in the matches there, but it wasn't too bad in that aspect. I thought it was kind of predictable. Okay, Aaron Rex is obviously going to win. Although, the TNA dude brought this up earlier, it almost, when the Drew Galloway promo went on, I just thought, like, are they turning Galloway face now? Because that's going to ruin him and Aaron Rex. But, I think Rex is getting over pretty well. Like, there's a lot of people saying that the guy's not working and he's failing at what he's doing in TNA, and I just disagree. I think he's gotten over pretty well so far. I just wanted to see Eddie win. Like, not only would it be a lot more predictable if Eddie Edwards wins, but like I'm just an Eddie Edwards fan, and I mean the guy got shafted, with his 2 X Division title reigns and his tag team title reign and the Wolves, all that kind of got them against Beer Money for a big feud that kind of got put on the back burner and didn't get to happen because of Bobby Roode leaving. So, it's just I wanted to see Eddie Edwards win a belt. I wanted Eddie Edwards to get rewarded for his hard work. Look, I think Davey's better of the Wolves. I'll never deny that, but I just wanted to see Eddie Edwards get rewarded and get a real legitimate, title reign. I thought he deserved it, and obviously that's not going to happen, but it's nice to see they have some faith in Eddie. But it was I liked the split decision too. Like, it seemed like that was a logical thing they were going to go to, and maybe I think they tried to make it look like Eddie may have won, because I thought maybe Eddie wrestled a little bit better. It made it super close to where maybe some people would get a little upset or discouraged that Aaron Rex won the match, and maybe that was what they were going for, and it was kind of like Will had brought up on the show, on our preview show, which I was kind of expecting, okay, let's see a bad decision or a really close one, something like that. So I liked that they actually went out and did that.
This match right here, I'm trying to stay positive and enthusiastic about the Grand Championship and the rules and everything. I admit it's not my favorite type of match, but I'm enjoying it for what it is. I'm certainly not hating on it. It's a good match. I wasn't sure if Rex was going to go over or not. He's still fresh in the company, and I would have liked to see Eddie Edwards, become the first champion. Hopefully they can find something for Eddie going down the line while Davey's out, because he's kind of just been taking losses for the most part. So hopefully, they find something for him when Davey comes back. But yeah, Aaron Rex, hopefully he can, bring this title to great places. I'm still getting used to the Aaron Rex character because he's not really playing a character. He's more of himself, and I did enjoy him in the WWE and the more entertainment-based characters he was doing there. So, I'm a fan of Aaron Rex. I think his name is a little weird, but I got faith in him. Hopefully, he can do great things with this title, make it mean something.
When I look at the match, I thought it was a good match. I have not been a huge fan of this particular style. The one thing I will say, though, is it does seem to make the talent go hard for 15 minutes, particularly in this match. And I thought the guys did go hard for all 15 minutes. Personally, I kind of gave round 3 to Eddie. It was close. I am not a fan of them showing the judges' scores beforehand. I think it just takes away from the suspense. I think if it was something that made sense to do, boxing would have done it years ago, and certainly MMA would do it today. I would like to see the judges be introduced and quote-unquote qualified. And I think I've said that before in different audiences, that we don't know anything about the judges. We have no idea. Are they trainers? Are they, officials? Do they work for the sports council? Who are they? And I think if we kind of got to know who they were, then it would sort of help us identify with maybe who they are. And maybe they could turn a judge heel and somebody could be, purchased. Do you know what I'm saying? And they could do different things with it. That having been said, I didn't think this match was that bad. I thought it was actually pretty good. I think I maybe wanted to see Eddie win it more than anything else. I'll say, Kyle, that Eddie hasn't necessarily gotten a lot of wins, but he's been booked really strong throughout the summer. He's had a lot of opportunities, and I think as a performer, I think Eddie Edwards has capitalized on every one of those opportunities. He just hasn't gotten that title run that Raven Effect mentioned that I really thought that he would get in the X Division. But no real shock here that Aaron Rex goes over. Eddie was not booked to be in this particular match. The only last thing that I'll say, and it kind of goes back to what Kyle was saying about Aaron Rex's character, I really liked him when he first came out. And when he had the standoff with Lashley and whatnot. But since they put him in this particular division with the Grand Championship, there hasn't been a whole lot of character to him anymore. He's just kind of like a guy who's going to go out there and try to win something. And to me, that's not as entertaining as what he was before. And so I kind of think this is maybe, not the right fit for him.
You know what, dude? You can do something to save this. I had a conversation earlier with someone that when BQ and I started way back in the beginning of the year with the King of the Mountain podcast. This was before you, Kyle, before you come along, that we converted him. He would not touch TNA at all. But he heard our podcast and was like, TNA they're doing what? And so he's excited. And this guy is cheap. I mean, he's a guy that's so cheap. He squeezed a buffalo nickel and a buffalo farts. That's how cheap he is. He bought the pay-per-view for TNA. I was completely shocked. He bought it, and he called me this morning. And the first thing he mentioned is, what in tarnation is going on with this Aaron Rex? Something's missing. And I don't like it. And that's the thing that they have to do something. They have to address it now. He can come out there. I'm not saying make him heel, but you sell the fact that, hey, who can go 15 minutes with me and elevate the title? Take the focus off of him, have him elevate the title some way, somehow, or else all of the talk about what didn't happen up with the Connecticut outfit is going to be for naught if he doesn't make a go with this. And so we're going to move on to the Gail Kim ceremony. The Gail Kim ceremony, dude, just going to throw over to you. Because everyone, I thought that they were going to bring out Velvet Sky for a moment. It had everyone else come out to go ahead and say something, say nice, kind words about her. What were your thoughts, dude?
I was expecting to see Mae Young come out, to be honest with you.
If Mae Young would have come out, then I would have turned the TV off.
I thought it was great that they brought, back the ones that they brought back. I think it's great to see Taryn Terrell very clearly pregnant. And
I didn't do it.
You didn't do it, unfortunately, right? Because
I did.
Because we all know we wish it was us.
Well, I don't know about the pregnancy. I don't know about the end result, but the action it takes to get the result, you don't mind doing.
You know what? If that's what it takes, then it's probably worth it. Be the best 15 seconds of my life if I lasted that long.
Like, oh God, I just pulled a groin muscle.
I hope I can whip it out before I'm done. Right? I thought it was great that they brought Christy Hemme back to be the ring announcer. I thought that honoring Taryn Terrell. I mean, just think about it. Taryn Terrell was really only a blip on the radar in the KO's division, but what a blip on the radar was she, right? And then the return of Awesome Kong. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of thought I saw Awesome Kong come out. I'm thinking, is that Mae Young? I mean, you want to talk about getting old quick. I mean, she really has aged. But it was great.
She's 39. What do you expect? Well, it's not old for life, but I don't know. She's no longer wrestling, so it's not much of a need to work out or anything. What do you really expect?
Actually, she's filming for the reboot of Glow right now. She's playing a character. She's not Awesome Kong, but she's playing a character in the series. It's coming to Netflix, apparently.
And I'll be honest with you, I might have to get Netflix to watch that because I'm looking forward to that. I remember watching Glow when I was a kid, staying up late on Saturday nights after the WWF was on and watching Glow. To me, the whole thing was very well done. I'll be honest with you, though, guys. I'm not really sure that it was something that should have been taken on pay-per-view time. I think this is something that they could have done, in an event maybe the night before or potentially on Impact and provided it there versus a part of the main event.
In my honest opinion, this screwed the entire pay-per-view up. Every time that this has been done, it has been done the night before or like the morning of. It doesn't, like you see the highlights ran on Bound for Glory, but you don't see the entire presentation. We saw that with 3D, we saw that with Sting, we saw that with Angle, we even saw it with Earl Hebner kind of a thing. Like this, in my opinion, ran so long that because by the time the first four matches were over, you're thinking, all right, there's a lot of time to give the rest of the matches, the time that they deserve. And then by the time this thing's over, I'm thinking, shit, how in the hell are they going to get the last of these matches in? And then At one point, it's like Cody still has to come out and debut. And in my opinion, we probably had a lot of things rushed because of this, which, Gail Kim absolutely, I don't care if someone goes into the Hall of Fame, it is their night. They deserve all the time they want to take. I don't think that they should put a time limit on it. They do that with the NFL Hall of Fame. They don't say, hey, wrap it up. They go out there, take as much time as you want and do it. It is your time to shine and go do that. And I think that's why it wasn't fair to put Gail Singh on the actual pay-per-view. She deserved to take as much time as she needed or wanted, but it was it just came to a point where it's she's got to wrap this up. I didn't really recognize Awesome Kong, and I don't think she looks old. I just think she looks different, and it seems like she's trying to be a prettier girl, and good for Awesome Kong. I'm a huge fan of hers. I always have been. It was good to see Taryn Terrell. My bad, everyone. But have a little Raven effect running around.
Every guy on this panel knows that if Awesome Kong would give them the time of day, you'd let her sit on your face.
Oh my God. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know about that, but
Raven Effect offered to pay for it. I'm just saying.
Hey,
We've had this discussion.
What happens on the Heelcast stays on the Heelcast.
That's right. What happens on Awesome Kong stays on Awesome Kong too, apparently.
And Christy Hemme, I know that her and Gail are really good friends, so it was good to see her on there. It looks like we may have lost Kyle for a moment, or he may have gotten tired of TNA Dude. One of the two, but I will go ahead and kick it over to if Kyle is back, we will go to Kyle. If not, Will, you want to take it?
It looks like Kyle
I
is
had technical difficulties there, guys. I got kicked out. I lost Wi-Fi. It kicked me out of the room right when it was my turn to talk.
It's still your turn. It's still your turn.
I need to call the fixer. I need to get that phone number up. Somebody could forward that to me. I need to call the fixer. He needs to take a look at my internet connection now. Gail Kim's ceremony is what it was. I think you all made very good points about it. This is kind of, and I hate to be disrespectful. Gail Kim was, a hell of a talent. I did watch it again the next morning, but this was my point of the pay-per-view. Where me and my buddy, we enjoy some party favors that may or may not be legal in places like Colorado. This was the recreation part of the night where we stepped away for a couple adult beverages and whatnot. I came back, watched it the next morning. Gail's famous chef husband was there, and no, not the chef from Twitter. Chef, shout out to Chef over there in Queens, New York, with the TNA Mafia Army. He's doing over there. But, it is what it was. They brought back some familiar faces. Before I pass it over, do you guys think Rebby and Kong, bumped shoulders in the locker room before this one? Think there's still some tension there?
I was thinking Rebby's got a whole lot more to worry about now other than just Rosemary, and that was what came to my mind.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was asking, where's Rebby when Kong showed up, to be honest with you. But my guess is that they can keep them apart a little bit, and, it's probably water under the bridge.
Did either one of you happen to see Awesome Kong when she went on, I think that was Sean Oliver. They do that does the shoot interviews, and it was kayfabe commentaries. Those people wasn't with Sean Oliver. I saw Awesome Kong that played the name game, and he picked out a lot of names, and she had given her thoughts. Just go look that up. It was pretty interesting. Oh, shout out to Gail Kim's dress. I can tell you one thing: she can wear a dress. She looked good in that blue dress. You ever see a woman in an article of clothing and you wish that you were that article of clothing for a moment?
All the time.
Mae Young's blouse.
Oh, okay. Moving on, the Great War. Kyle. Thanks for that imagery. The Great War. The Hardys versus Decay. And this match was crazy. I saw things of this match, and TNA Dude, I know, since I'm assuming you and I happen to be around the same age, because if you were a kid when Glow came on, so was I. And I know you remember this match, the Dustin Rhodes versus Blacktop Bully, in that match where they were in the back of the 18-wheeler on the highway. Yeah, the one that got Dustin Rhodes fired from WCW. You had and my point in bringing it up, you had guys fighting in the back of a truck. They were all over the place. I'm surprised that they're still in one piece. This was probably, and understand me, everyone, there's a big difference between being the best and being the most entertaining. This was probably, in my opinion, the most entertaining match on the card. And being a musician, I knew Rebby could play, but I did not know that she was a thoroughly classically trained pianist.
She really threw together a nice little medley there. She threw in little bits and pieces of their theme songs and stuff, and really all wrapped it all together. That was a pretty cool entrance right there. Whenever we cover this Hardy stuff, I never know what to say about it because it's just so insane. It's crazy. The stuff that went on in this match, where do I begin? It's nuts, crazy. I think that was the guy in the truck. And correct me if I'm wrong. Is that was the same guy earlier in the series where they took his pickup truck? That was the same guy, right? He came back to the guy that got left with his pants down. I hope nothing too weird went there, but apparently his pants fell down. But whatever it was with that. But he came back. He was on Team Delete. They fought all over the place. So many crazy spots in this match. It was insane. You notice that they took Rebby out right at the beginning. I was curious to see what they were going to do with them too, and she gets misted. Just a great match. Probably my favorite match of the night because it was just so insane. Yeah, I really don't know what to say about it. Maybe you guys could do a better job.
Kyle, I think you're onto something because you laughed the entire time that you were talking about the match. And I laughed the entire time that I watched the match, but I still found myself incredibly entertained by it, and it really was my favorite part of the show. So there's obviously a lot to say here. First of all, guys, how sick was it when Rosemary went across the ring with that drop kick? I mean, that's a chick doing that. You know what I'm saying? I think the guys just must think of her as just another one of the guys. That was unbelievable, and props off to her for that. Props off to the production crew. I mean, let's face it, folks. A lot of this was pre-taped, and they had to piece it together, play things at the right time to make it come off like it wasn't pre-taped. And you could tell it was pre-taped because, let's face it, Jeff Hardy doesn't change costumes that quickly. But outside of that, there weren't really any long, spots. There were a couple seconds where, they did a transition here or there, but nothing that really stood out unless you were looking for it. Now, one thing I'm going to say about this match is this match was so bizarre that it was very entertaining. I was expecting to see a situation where they would do the fireworks fight, even if it wasn't, outside in the parking lot. But one thing that struck me was somebody actually posted Meltzer's take. Now, Raven Effect, you may want to hang up as I talk about this because I know that you absolutely love Dave Meltzer, but he had a pretty interesting take on this that I hadn't heard elsewhere. And it basically said that Jeff had some magic water poured on him that allowed him to disappear and throw pumpkins at Steve. Get it? Smashing pumpkins. And then he also says that at another point, Rosemary gave Abyss Janice, but Matt set Janice on fire and threw the board out of the pickup truck. And then it might have been the idea that Janice and the Carters are dead. Who knows? I personally have never made the connection of Janice to Janice Carter. Maybe that's always been an inside joke. But the point is that it's possible that some of the stuff in this match, that it was a little bit deeper than what it seemed. It was a very entertaining match. I loved it. To me, it was my favorite part of the show. But I'm not going to lie and say that I took any of it seriously. I could not stop laughing the whole time.
Yeah, I actually saw that take with Dave Meltzer, and at the time I thought, okay, maybe he's just going off the top, but in a lot of ways it does kind of make sense. And yeah, the Janice thing, it was a inside knock on Janice Carter. It was supposed to be named after Dixie's mother the whole time. That's something I have heard, but God, this match was, and Will hit it on the head. Like, it wasn't the best match of the night. I think that was DJZ and Trevor Lee, but this was by far the most entertaining thing. This was my favorite part of the night. Definite props to Rosemary on the drop kick on that. This thing was bonkers, man. Like the reincarnation water with Jeff Hardy. So, yeah, he does turn invisible and do the Smashing Pumpkins thing, but then what in the hell does he turn into? Like, he's rambling on, like, I don't know what he was supposed to be, but the character cracked me up, and he said like something about I don't know, I don't even know shit, man, or something like that at one point. Then later on, surprisingly, yeah, the guy that they stole the pickup truck from came back, ready to throw down. He did, Kyle, I don't know if you caught this, he did actually mention something about being sodomized by them.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. So you want to sodomize me or something? And yeah, Steve and Rosemary did some fucked up shit to TNA Dude and myself, and we know what that guy's going through there. But
I didn't want to shoot a deuce the rest of the evening.
Oh my god! But this was definitely entertaining. The Rosemary going through the table. I thought the way that they all misted Rebby at the start was awesome too. Just really cool. They got all 6 of them involved. We got new tag team champions. It looked like, at the end where Jeff Hardy did the, good God, how do I forget what the guy, it was at Swanton. It looks like he kind of overjumped Steve a little bit and probably hurt himself a little more than he wanted to on that fall. But, Crazy Steve taking the hard bump there. Jeff Hardy with the awesome dive. Loved it. Figured the Hardys would win. Very cool ending. This match, it was something that they couldn't take time away and out of. One thing I do want to break up, because we talked about Rebby Sky getting in an altercation with Awesome Kong. But did you guys see over the weekend Rebby Sky get into it with Eric Bischoff on Twitter when Eric Bischoff threatened to sue Matt Hardy because Matt Hardy said that Hogan and Bischoff had kind of raped TNA, and Dixie Carter and Hogan and Bischoff really took away the identity of TNA.
Sue him for what? I heard. No, I heard about that. Sue Matt Hardy for what? Speaking the truth?
That's exactly what I said too. Like, he's not fucking lying. Like, but the way that
why don't he make like an ostrich and just go stick his head in the sand someplace?
The way that Rebby just went out and blasted Eric Bischoff and said, take a second lawsuit and come after me too. It was just like she kind of earned a little bit of my respect there. Just the way that she did it. It wasn't the classiest sort of language and way to go about it, but she earned my respect, and it was awesome to see her stand up like that. Because the honest to God truth, Matt Hardy wasn't lying, and I'm actually someone who is pro Eric Bischoff. I don't think Bischoff did as much damage as Hogan, Pritchard, and Dixie did, and even Gebühr to one extent. But it was just bullshit. But Rebby definitely won me over a little bit there.
You know what? Just want to throw this out there. Matt Hardy's cryptic tweet, his premonition where he will be at on Monday night. And normally BQ does that type of thing, but hey, I'm capable of it too. But the cryptic tweet of Matt Hardy, where would he be at Monday? Now we're taping this Tuesday. What did you all think at the time that you read that tweet, and how about things afterwards, since everything is cooled off and the dust has had time to settle? Dude, what were your thoughts?
Huh? Talking to me?
Yes.
Dude stuck in the chat logs looking at some pics.
Oh, sorry. Somebody just posted a picture of Christy Hammy. What can I tell you? What's the question, Will?
About Matt Hardy's cryptic premonition of where he will be at on Monday.
Yeah, I didn't catch that.
Well, for our listeners, he put, and our host, Matt Hardy, who we know loves to use Twitter, had put out that he had a premonition of where he would be at on Monday. This was put out, I believe, late Saturday, early Sunday. And from my research, there was quite a bit of talk about it. Did anyone other than myself catch that?
I caught nothing about it, man.
Yeah, no, I saw he tweeted that he had a premonition of where he would be Monday, and I think I saw on EC3's Facebook he threw something out there too. I mean, maybe they were just teasing the fans, knowing that. Who knows? But there's also a chance that Matt Hardy was talking about something they were filming on maybe Monday. Who knows, man? But I think it was just a classic case of him just teasing the fans, with all the dirt sheet rumors out there.
And that's my point of bringing that up, is that what made the Great War work, especially after you have the final deletion, delete or decay, after having all of that, what he does outside of the ring helped get him over. And why don't you see more of that in wrestling? I think the last time you had someone that really went deep outside the ring had to have been, I don't know, Zack Ryder. But it's the stuff that he does on social media. It's when he has a chance to do interviews. He never he stays in the broken character. You see him live the gimmick. And that's what's missing today. If he did not execute the character so well, there may not have been a Great War. And if it was forced upon us, who would give a crap?
I totally agree with you. Everybody needs to do it. And he's proving that it works, right? I mean, stay in character at all times, I've said it to Mike Bennett several times. Mike Bennett on Twitter, Mike Bennett's an awesome guy, and he's one of my favorite wrestlers, and I'm never going to say anything bad about the guy, but on Twitter, he's a dick in the ring. He should be a dick on Twitter. Get off the political stuff. Get off of the, how wonderful and how much you love your wife. Just whenever anybody says anything to you, Mike, just be a dick, because that's what you are. You're a dick. That's what Matt Hardy would do, and I think if they all did that they would all be over more. I mean, you don't just play your character in and out, and if you want to do something serious, have a secondary Twitter account for it, but not your characters. Same thing with EC3. EC3 did not play the role of the prick well on Twitter when he was the bad guy. He should have been a prick. People love that. We want to go on. We want to interact with you. We want you to insult us. Don't block us. Just keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Matt Hardy has figured out that people like, Bully Ray and Velvet Sky haven't figured out.
Well, the person on our podcast, King of the Mountain podcast, that is good for drawing heat is BQ. He can get you blocked. So if you want to go ahead and get lessons how to get blocked, just talk to BQ. He can coach you up on that one.
I think Raven Effect's blocked by just about everybody too.
I'm blocked by Grado and Josh Matthews. I got unblocked by Jesse Gutters. I don't know why he blocked me at one point, but
I
know
got you
Josh
unblocked
Matthews
by Jesse Goddard.
That's right, you did.
Yes, I helped you out there.
Yeah, I got blocked by Velvet, but that was intentionally done, and I got blocked by the Dudleys too, because one time the Dudleys actually retweeted my tweet to Velvet about how she was so classy that she fucked her way to the middle of the wrestling business, and the Dudley Boys account actually retweeted that tweet, which I was like blown away by, and then it actually was later. I was later blocked, and they no longer retweeted that. So I got one over on them though.
Not the top of the card of business, the middle of the business.
Exactly.
I think she was probably more at the bottom of the business.
Well, you know what I'm saying, dude. The chicks all change, but the blowjobs remain the same. Moving on. This is a bad segue, but Gail Kim versus Maria. It was the next match on the card. And so...
Hey, top, bottom, who cares, right? It's all good there.
Yeah. How about being in the middle?
Or the back.
The front.
I'll take it
Upside
anyway.
down.
Especially when Maria.
Sitting in the corner watching, who cares?
Yeah, 450 splash. And that would be
I
nice.
don't know
But
why. I eventually want to. Never mind.
this match was everything.
I
one
apologize,
as we
everyone.
expected.
This this was by far the worst match of the night, but it wasn't supposed to be good. So we had Maria. I liked her tactics, where she kind of, threw the distraction and then started to run away from Gail and got Allie involved and whatnot. But, at least she got a little bit of offense in. Gail, she didn't look bad in the ring with Gail. And maybe Maria's gotten some more training, but this was by far the most predictable match of the night. We knew who was going to win. It was Gail's night to start. They can't keep the belt on Maria. For some reason you can be filthy rich and in your 70s and pull Gail Kim. So we got to see her kiss Robert Irvin, and it looks like she hugged her granddaughters, or not granddaughters, but goddaughters out there. But a good night for Gail Kim. I love Maria.
Well, hold up, Raven. Hold up, Raven Effect. Goddaughters, grandchildren.
I think you meant stepdaughters. They're stepdaughters.
She said something about having her godchildren out there. Goddaughter
and her stepdaughters.
Oh, gotcha.
Two stepdaughters and a goddaughter.
Her husband has got to have grandkids.
He's not old. He just looks old because she's wearing him out. That's all it is.
He looks 70. Like my dad's 72. My dad looks younger than that guy.
I think he's 55.
Yeah, but your dad's not banging Gail Kim every night either.
No, he's not.
I've seen your mom. She's really no prize.
She is, motherfucker.
She looks a lot like Mae Young, actually.
Oh,
You are a lion sack shit. My mother's a saint.
Saint Mae Young.
Your mom's saint suck a dick.
Hey. Quit speaking the truth, all right? Somebody had to pay my way through college somehow.
Sorry, Rosemary.
That's the best we could do. I'll be honest with you guys. This is a really smart place to put this match. Something had to happen between the Great War and EC3 and Lashley just to calm the crowd down. I mean, I think thinking back to, I guess it was WrestleMania 18, where Hogan and Rock went on right before Jericho and Triple H. If I remember, that's what happened. And nobody could get into that match because of how much it had gone down. It's a little bit hard to follow with the constant distraction, otherwise known as Maria Kanellis' booty. I mean, could those tights have been any tighter? Gail goes over cleanly. No surprises here. I would go back to my buddy One Mike and say this is a perfectly acceptable women's match. It wasn't special. It wasn't the quality match that we would have gotten if we would have had Gail versus Jade, or Gail versus Sienna, or Gail versus some of the others. But I thought Maria, for what we expected out of this, I thought Maria did a nice job.
With this match, I also agree. I think Maria was a little better than I expected her to be. Gail Kim gets the belt. You never see in professional wrestling, I don't think this has ever happened, that somebody won a title and was inducted into the Hall of Fame in the same night. I think it's safe to say that this is a first all across the board. Correct me if I'm wrong. So Gail Kim has the belt. Where do we go from here? That's where, as good as this match was, my real thing was at the end of it, just thinking to myself, where do they go from here?
Well, you gotta. Who would be the most likely person to pass the torch to? Who do you see out here that's going to be with the company? And I'm going to say, and I'm having faith here that TNA is going to be around a long while. But who do you pass the torch to?
Oh, they got to pass it to Rosemary at some point. I mean, let's just go there, right? We're all thinking it. At some point, they got to put her in the division. They got to give her the ball and let her run with it.
You got a lot of great female talent. I mean, I think Jade's a top contender. Rosemary's a top contender. But from, and this is, would it be kind of weird, like, as a brand to pass the torch from Gail Kim to Jade? Would that confuse the casual fan? Because that it's just like it looks weird in the lineage. I feel like for they have this top Asian franchise and pass it to another, and like you got to really separate the two. And they had their feud, but it didn't feel like a torch passing. Who's going to take? Jay didn't get much of a belt. Who's going to take that torch? Is it going to be Will? Is shooting for Marty Bell. I don't know if you guys are here on our show. Will is a top Marty Bell fan. You got her. You got this Laurel Von Ness. You got Sienna. There is so much great female talent. Who is going to take it from Gail Kim? Who is the right pick? Real quick, can we go? Can everybody take a pick? Can we move real quick? A little side talk here. Can everybody take a pick who they think the top female in TNA should be?
Well, Kyle, to your point about who to go to, Gail Kim has been there, and many people thought that this was going to exit after. Would have been a nice time, but I think Gail Kim, instead of passing the torch, I think that she probably has 2 or 3 years left. I don't think she wants to go anywhere, and she's going to continue this on for a few more years. Now, with her having the title, the next person that gets it, you can play off the, hey, I'll be the legend, I'll be the Hall of Famer. You can really do something. Who that next person should be, most of us would agree, should be Jade. I would like to see that. I don't think it's going to happen. So it's going to be very interesting with the knockouts to see what happens. It's going to be interesting what happens with Allie. Doesn't want to wrestle, though everyone knows that she can. She's probably a better wrestler than her husband. Definitely has more personality. Marty Bell, well, Marty needs more work. Maria doesn't need a title. So it's just going to be interesting.
For me, it's simple.
Sounds real simple there, Raven Effect. Raven Effect. You there? Apparently, folks, it was so simple that Raven Effect decided that he was going to go on mute or drop off.
Bedtime.
That's right. It's bedtime again for Raven
He's
Effect.
got his warm milk ready. He's done.
It is about 9 o'clock on the West Coast. Time for him to take his decrepit erection to bed. For me, what do I think they're going to do?
Hey,
What?
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. That's why I'm saying what?
Quit talking shit about my decrepit erection.
See, this is what happens. All right, now that you're done rubbing yourself off, Raven Effect, why don't you tell us who you think should be leading the Knockouts division?
Well, I was thinking about my ex-girlfriend Rosemary. Sometimes things happen. So it's either Rosemary or Sienna, and Rosemary being probably her and Maria, I think the two most over girls in the division right now, other than Allie. But Rosemary's polished in the ring. She's a demon assassin. She's mixing it up there. She's not afraid of the men. I think she should pass the torch to either Rosemary or Sienna. Look, I think Sienna took the Knockouts division by storm for a reason. I think she's been tearing it up. She made me a huge fan in a small amount of time. I don't think she should have lost her title reign. I think she should be the obvious person to take on Gail Kim right now. That's no disrespect to Jade, because Jade is fantastic as well, but I think Sienna and Rosemary have an it factor to them that Jade does not have.
Part of me says Will makes a really good point. I mean, Jade is just greatness. And she's the closest thing to a Gail Kim knockoff that you can be. And I don't want to, it's not insulting to call anybody a Gail Kim knockoff. Look, Gail Kim's been at the top of the card for a long time, and most of the IWC is just tired of the fact that she's been at the top. Folks, she's been at the top for a reason. She is that damn good. And when I look at Jade, I see somebody that can be that damn good. The problem is Jade got screwed earlier this year. They finally gave her a chance to shine. They finally put the belt on her. They basically blew her off completely. The one that I want to see get that run, the one that I want to see what she can do if they ever put her in the division, is Rosemary. I think Rosemary wrestles like one of the guys. I think she has incredible character. I would love to see Rosemary and Allie. I think we all want to see Rosemary and Allie. We know they've been tearing it up on the independent scene forever. To me, if they ever actually put her in the division, she's actually going to take it. And I think that's the difference between her and the rest of them. We talk about who are they going to give it to? Are they going to give it to Sienna? Are they going to give it to Allie? Are they going to give it to Jade? Who are they going to give it to? Write this down, folks. Rosemary is going to take it.
You know what, dude? Hearing you say that, and I didn't know who Rosemary was, and if I don't watch Shimmer, I'm going to start. I went back to go look up old matches of hers. I went back to go look up old matches of Jade's, especially with the one. What was the match that Jade had? It was 4 years ago. Mike, somebody, 300-pound guy, and she beat him, and it was a very brutal matchup, a lot of physicality, but Jade won, and you can go on YouTube and see it. It was a pretty incredible matchup. You look at the title reigns, and this is why I had a problem with Maria having a title, is that it devalued the title. Because not only did Jade get screwed, but Sienna had gotten screwed, and they were booked to make it appear. Well, they were booked to make them appear to be weak champions, and so I'm not sure what Sienna. I think you can do something with her. Jade, you can do something with her, but I don't know how the fans will take to it. This is the same woman who said no more podcast, in which I can't recall any time I've heard a wrestler actually come out and say it. Usually they just ignore all the requests. I won't say any names, but they ignore the request, and that's it. But they don't just come out and just say that. So I'm not sure they can get it right. I don't have too much confidence that they can get it right and put the proper lady in the proper spot at the proper time. Maria should not have been a champion. You didn't need to do all that. That just kind of killed it for me. But from there, we're going to move on to, speaking of Gail Kim and the Knockouts division, we have the much touted Cody and Brandy Rhodes. Well, I can't call him Cody Rhodes in TNA, but Brandy Rhodes and Cody, they make their appearance. And is it my imagination, but you think about what Brandy looked like in WWE, you see her on screen, look like two different people. Raven Effect, what are your thoughts about the Rhodes long-awaited appearance?
Well, to answer your question about the WWE, I have no idea because I don't watch WWE. I haven't watched them since 2012, so I don't know what she looked like then. I think she looked real damn good. I'll definitely say that. I think Cody's appearance was rushed because of the Gail Kim Hall of Fame speech, to be honest. I think, it was expected. We're going to get Mike Bennett against Cody, and you figure Maria and Cody's wife, Brandy, are going to get involved too. So it was expected, and as soon as Bennett came out, you knew Cody was going to come out shortly after. You weren't sure how. So Bennett goes back to his whole, I'm going to take the company hostage thing. It was fun, I guess. Like it wasn't bad. It wasn't poorly done, but I think it should have been done a little differently and bigger if they would have had more time to do so, because it just felt rushed. Like they come out, his little theme song is cool with the whole there's more than one royal family in wrestling, taking a shot at the McMahons, but then it was rushed and all. But I mean, it was a cool moment with them. It seems Cody's going to get over really big. It kind of sucks he's going to do the ROH stuff too. I'd like to see him full time in TNA. But, it was entertaining. I look forward to him against Mike Bennett. I just hope that if he's going into Ring of Honor, they put Bennett over him before he goes.
A lot of good points there, Raven Effect. A lot of good points. I feel you on that it did feel a tiny bit rushed, but it was what it was, good way to introduce him, I might have liked to see him get in the ring a little bit, but hey, that's a reason for you to tune back in to Impact. I don't know if we're going to get him on Impact this week. I hope that we do. Apparently he's not officially signed to the company, but his wife is, so that's cool. That'll keep him around somewhat, This might not be his only run here in the company. He might come back for some appearances. He's doing his little world tour right now. He's everywhere. Anywhere you look on the independent scene, you're going to find a little bit of Cody Rhodes. Him and Miracle, I think that's a hell of a match. I hope that they're able to deliver with that.
So Raven Effect mentioned that he hasn't watched the WWE since 2012. I haven't watched it in this millennium. So I don't really know anything about either one of these two. What I'll say is this, right? First of all, Cody and Brandy Rhodes, and yeah, Pope did say it, Rhodes. They came out and it was a triumphant entrance. And they came out to a lot of fanfare. They were very clearly happy to be there. They had their act that they were supposed to do down perfectly. And even to Cody picking Brandy up on his shoulder to say, we're a team. We're here in TNA and look at us. It reminded me a lot of Mike and Maria's entrance. Very, very, very well staged. It was well oiled. Now, whether or not it was a little rushed and it wasn't the best production and they could have done something better with them is completely different than the fact that those two, their entrance and their mannerisms were on point. Perfectly on point. Just like what it was when Maria and Mike introduced themselves. The other thing I'm going to say is that Mike Bennett was involved in the show a couple different spots, right? He had his match, he had a promo before the match with Robert Irvine, and then he had the whole shtick here with Cody Rhodes. Mike was gold. We talk about how great the Great War was. We talk about how great the X Division match was, and obviously we still have to talk about the main event. But Mike Bennett was a very silent show stealer in this particular event. He came out 3 times and he nailed it all 3 times. He doesn't really get the credit that he deserves sometimes for how he puts other people over.
You know what? That's a very good point. Is that when you look at wrestling from gotta go about a decade back. Every organization out here needs a guy that can put people over, and it's not just with wins and losses. And so, with the way Mike Bennett handled himself in the ring, you're expecting to see a lot from Cody Rhodes and Mike Bennett. Going to be interesting. It's going to, at least for me, it makes me want to see Cody sign full time. Like, okay, these two are going to be something very, very special. And TNA right now, coming off Bound for Glory, good pay-per-view, they're going to need to just keep the momentum. And that carried us over into the final match. Lashley versus EC3. Going to throw over to Raven Effect, because I know you have a lot to say about this match.
Apparently he has a ton to say about this match.
Goddamn fucking mute button. That's what I have to say about this match. As I tried to say to myself, I do have a lot to say about the match. And first of all, I want to say this was a very, very good match. I saw a lot of people on the internet saying that it wasn't good. I saw some people say that it was underwhelming. The one thing I will say is the crowd just seemed dead for this match, and that was unfortunate. But I thought this match was damn good. Definitely had its spots. The coolest thing, I think, was when JB introduces EC3 and Lashley just fucking spears him. Like, I've never seen that shit happen. It was awesome. The second that happened, and it's on TNAasylum.net, you can see the proof. I said, okay, Lashley's winning. There's no way, like, Lashley, it just
I knew Lashley was going to win after that. But it definitely, the momentum kind of changed, and there were parts where I really thought, okay, maybe Ethan is going to win. I know Dude and myself kind of went back and forth on TNA Asylum as we were watching it, but the ending, EC3 kicking out of the spear, Lashley kicking out of the 1%er, it was really good. It just, oh man, poor Ethan, because this is the guy that should be, carrying the company on his back. He should be the guy, but he lost so much steam, and like I said, after Slammiversary, it seems like, okay, there's no way EC3 is not going over at Bound for Glory, and by the time this happened, it was like, shit, I think they got to keep it on Lashley. But the spear off of the ropes was awesome. It hasn't been done. As soon as that hit, I knew it had to be over. But it was a damn good match. EC3, we addressed the crowd afterwards, and gave props to the locker room. But man, it was an awesome match, and it was a damn good show overall.
You got two of the company's biggest stars battling for the grand prize. This is definitely a big main event here. That spear in the introduction, just like you said, that had me rolling. That was great. It's hard for me to say it because I think Lashley's doing some of the best work of his career right now, without a doubt. But I kind of wanted EC3 to win. I wanted to see EC3 get the belt again. To try to revitalize, bring back some of that buzz that he's lost in this current run. But we'll see where they go. We're not sure what direction they're going in his company. We'll see where they go with it. But yeah, Lashley's he's the baddest guy in wrestling right now. This guy is a monster. I have no idea who's going to take the belt off, and they're going to have a hard time. That's for sure. But he had a great match. A lot of great spots in here. Comes to mind. That spear at the beginning really set the tone for what we were about to see. EC3, falls short at the end. Hopefully we get to see him get his rematch. That's, really all I got to say about that one. I hope to see EC3 get that gold back around his waist coming forward.
I was definitely in Camp EC3 on this one. And of all the matches, this is the only one I really mispredicted, right? And, I can understand them keeping the belt on Lashley. Lashley's been awesome. There's no doubt about it. He's been awesome. But the booking is too strong. Every wrestler has to have some kind of a weakness. That's how you get them to lose. Lashley's a guy, he goes out, gets up in your face, he tells you he's going to kick your ass, and then he kicks your ass. And then they send the next person out, and he says, I'm going to kick your ass. And they cheap shot him, and he still kicks their ass. Now, he's really good doing it, okay? And it's been one of the most dominant title runs that I remember, right, for a long time, and for good reason. And there's absolutely no reason to take anything away from Lashley other than to say that, there comes a time when you just have to put the belt on somebody else. And they've made him so non-human at this point that you don't know where there's a kink in the armor. And what I was really hoping that they would do leading up to this event was show that Lashley does have a kink in the armor that EC3 could capitalize on. They never did. Like I said, EC3 cheap shotted him at the press conference, and Lashley proceeded to kick his butt and send him home. Every single time, even when it was Lethal Lockdown, Lashley gets the win. Now, the match itself here was great. Let's not take away anything from either of these two guys. Kyle, you nailed it. These are two of the biggest stars on the biggest stage in the biggest match. They delivered. They came out and they delivered a great match. At times, I kind of wondered if, with all of the kickouts, are we just maybe watching an ROH match? I mean, there was definitely some of that going on. But they both delivered. Tons of hard-hitting matches. EC3 gets speared a third time and still kicks out. So they made an attempt to have EC3 be strong. I'm just not sure why. They booked him as so weak throughout of it. Now he's kicking out of 3 spears. Ultimately, though, I got to say that spear off the turnbuckle was just something to behold. And if that didn't pin EC3, nothing was ever going to pin EC3. So it'll be interesting to see where they take it from here. I've really expected them to pull the belt off of Lashley prior to his MMA bout later this month. But where does the division go? Lashley's cleared it out, guys.
I don't know where it goes. I guess Moose. Moose is still there. It seems likely and logical. Am I right? I think EC3 maybe gets a rematch. I'd like to see EC3 come away with the belt at these tapings. That's my guess. That's where I say it goes next.
I don't think you're. I would like to think that you're right, Raven Effect. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I want to bring up a point because through no fault of his own, EC3 has lost steam. It's not because of bad promos or poor in-ring work. Here's a philosophical question. Take a look at someone that we discussed earlier, Eddie Edwards. Most of the matches of this year, big matches, he lost every one of them. And he can lose again. No one is going to think that he looked weak. If he ever does say anything on the mic, it's going to be, whatever he says is going to be accepted. No one's questioning his stature within the company. Then EC3, like as I said before, through no fault of his own, he's delivered good promos, excellent in-ring work. He's been cooled off. It's almost as if he is being... He was already over. They got him over. Now it seems like they're trying to get him under. Lashley, best work of his career. I didn't realize this dude is like 40, but best work of his career. And probably when he only had, well, I read an interview he had before the pay-per-view. He says that with the TNA schedule, he can probably do this for 10 more years, in which I actually believe him. But you could have gone in a different direction if you wanted to get the belt off of him at the pay-per-view. You could have had several things happen. You could have had EC3 hit him with something, referee distraction, something. Not necessarily turn EC3 heel, but you could have done something to get the title off of him. If the division is cleaned out, and this is something that wrestling hasn't done, well, in a long time. What made people like Harley Race and Ric Flair legendary in the minds of all wrestling fans is that, now I must throw Dory Funk in there, I think I mentioned this last podcast, is that what makes an excellent world champion is believability that you can be defeated on any given night. Like, oh yeah, he should just totally destroy someone. But there's always that outside chance that this person could pull it off. With Lashley, that entire doubt is eliminated. You just expect him somehow he can get hit with a steel beam. He's going to kick out. He's going to spear you. Well, now since he's doing second rope spears, anything can happen. But they have to do something moving forward to use this air of invincibility to uplift someone. Let them get a rub off of that. Now, I don't know how they're going to go about doing it. I just know it needs to be done. Because if you go on for too much longer, you're going to take... If they go and say until going to the new year like this with Lashley, this being invincible, then you run the risk of people really not caring what he does or how he does it. How many people are you going to throw his way?
That Raven Effect again?
That was not me. I actually had myself on mute there. It sounds like someone's dog was panting.
I'm on the mute.
Who knows? So, what do you say, guys? We want to just give an overall take on how we thought the show was before we let everyone go?
Wrap her up and take her home.
Yep.
All right, I guess I'll start. I thought it was a really good show, to be honest with you guys. I don't think that it was as good as Slammiversary was, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't great. I thought it was a great show. I thought the Great War was fantastic. It was unbelievably entertaining. I think the X Division title match really stood out. Eli Drake, it's good to see him get the push, in my opinion. I'm a huge fan. Lashley versus EC3, I'm a big fan of both guys. They probably put the right guy over because of, like everyone has talked about, EC3 losing steam. Moose going over Lashley, or I'm sorry, Moose going over Bennett. Very good stuff there too. It wasn't as good as Slammiversary in my opinion, but it was still a really, really, really damn good show. It was definitely worth the $40 to me, regardless what happens during the tapings, because people will be surprised at some things. But it was, totally worth $40 to me.
I agree with Raven Effect. I think it was worth every penny of it. I thought the overall show was very good. I thought that their depiction of how they did the Great War was different than I was expecting. I was almost expecting something from Camp Hardy with, pre-tapes or whatnot. But I love the fact that they brought it into the Impact Zone for the wrestlers to be there and for the live audience. I also think that it's a nice bridge for that particular match so that they can do more things like that are a little out of the ordinary, but not always have to be at, I think Matt calls it the Land of Decay. Or the Land of Deletion. I'm sorry, that would be the Decay's hometown. As far as the other matches themselves, I thought for the most part the winners are fairly predictable. We all knew Aaron Rex was going to go over. Hard to imagine Moose didn't go over, unless maybe there was some kind of annex by Bennett, but it wasn't going to be clean, right? Gail Kim losing to Maria Kanellis would have been a total shocker, right? So, really that just left the world title where Lashley defended. I don't know that. I think the thing that this show was missing was that wow factor. This is the spot where it would be great to have Lashley stand up and say, "There's nobody in the company that can beat me. I can beat anybody." Like what, say, Yokozuna did at WrestleMania 9, only to have somebody pop up from nowhere like a James Storm, come out, super kick him, and walk out with the belt. It doesn't have that big pop and that big wow factor. And to me, while all of these matches were good, while everything had a logical conclusion, and yes, I got my money's worth, that wow factor is what's going to draw an audience back to your promotion. And that's something that they're missing with this.
TNA Dude, that's how I felt. Before I continue, I just want to go ahead and give a gigantic middle finger to Comcast, my cable provider, because I had issues ordering the pay-per-view. So thankfully, there's always the Fight TV app, which had it $10 cheaper. Comcast would have $50 flipping dollars.
And you get to keep it for 30 days.
Yeah, well, I could have recorded it on Comcast, but with Fight TV, I get to keep it for 30 days, so I get to enjoy it. I felt I got my $40 worth. There's worse things I've bought video games for $40 or more that were far worse than pay-per-view. I don't feel cheated. I don't have any complaints about the quality, but it did after Slammiversary, and this is supposed to be their big pay-per-view. I was let down a little bit because it did not have the wow factor. The matches were quality. I feel that there was too much time spent on the Gail Kim spot, and it wasn't placed in the right part of the card. You could have opened up the show with her. Instead, we get her husband, in which we can see him on his TV show. And actually, or maybe not see him because I watched the show and I don't like it. So, it was just that thing to where, when you look back, what match are we going to be talking about? Other than, okay, there's the Great War. People will be talking about that match next year. Slammiversary has matches that we will talk about when we're still talking about. This pay-per-view did not have those type of matches. So once again, the most entertaining, as I said earlier, the Great War, the Hardys, Decay. There's still questions about, well, what do you do with Lashley? What's Aaron Rex has the title. Okay, interesting how that plays out. What's going to go on with Gail Kim? People are still talking about. What bothers me is that 2 days after the pay per view, people are still talking about. They're talking more about who's going to own the promotion instead of the big pay per view that just occurred for the promotion. That means that you did not deliver the type of show that would make people not focus on some of the alleged woes. Kyle?
I really enjoyed the show a lot. I mean, it was worth the money. I could be a little biased. I kind of don't miss a one night only. I don't miss a one night only. But
I mean wrestling, right? I mean, keep your sex life out of this.
yeah. Sorry, I was thinking about Mae Young there. The good old days. But yeah, I enjoyed the show a lot. I don't think there were really any weak spots on the card. I agree with, I think the Gail Kim thing could have been handled a little better. Now, my issue with it is it didn't feel as much like the spectacle. It could have felt bigger in the sense that they don't do anything to the ring apron. They don't change the stage. They did literally nothing. I mean, a little Bound for Glory logo somewhere on that ring apron or somewhere on the guardrail would have been nice. You take away the Great War and the Gail Kim segment, it kind of feels like a regular episode of Impact with, just a big main event at the end. I think they could have done more to spice it up and present it a little better rather than, it felt like a good episode of Impact. But I got my money's worth. I enjoyed the show a lot. Favorite matches probably have to be the Great War and the main event.
Raven Effect?
Yes, sir.
Any final thoughts about the overall card?
I don't. We kind of summed everything up. I think, maybe we'll get the listeners to chime in with their comments, so we can all get some feedback there. But, I'm excited to see what happens in the next coming weeks on Impact, see how we'll close out the rest of 2016 and move on to the next year. So definitely a good year for TNA, biggest pay-per-view of the year's ever with, and I have no complaints on it, to be honest with you.
TNA Dude?
Again, I think pretty much summed it up too. I'll say that it's been an odd year for TNA, that they're going to close out the year, hopefully take it on a high note, and hopefully get past their internal struggles so that they can move forward in 2017 with a brand new slate. I think we're all looking forward to that, but I will say that in terms of product quality, this is the best wrestling product that I have seen in years, and I'm talking straight back to the NWA days. I mean, from end to end, this year had very, very few shows that just weren't great, and I don't say that very often.
I just want to say, because I know that Heelcast is connected, that, and we can close out on this, is that, well, first off, on behalf of Kyle, BQ, and myself, thank you guys for having us. It's really been a pleasure and honored to be here. For the talent of TNA, if they do listen, thank you, each and every one of you. That was, and no, I'm not giving a eulogy in case some Weisenheimers out there like, oh, it's going to be sold to McMahon. Thank you all, because if I can pretty much tell you, TNA Dude and Raven Effect probably there wouldn't be a podcast if this company goes away. And I know the three of us at King of the Mountain, I guess we'll find something to cover, but I don't think it'd be nearly as much fun as TNA. 2016 has been one of the best years in wrestling, and it's not because of WWE. I will tell anyone that. I for wrestling fans and friends that I know, I defend TNA all the time. And the reason why I defend TNA, it's very easy to do so now because there's a good reason to defend. We have a leg to stand on to defend them with. It's not like we have to go reach for straws or anything. Very good year, very good matches. Of course, nothing's perfect. There's still some things that make you scratch your head, but this company is a little engine that could, and they're going to survive. And they had a good event. I believe in the future more of the pay-per-view is going to be like Slammiversary. This one's okay. I pretty much give it 7.5. Well, actually, it's 7.75 out of 10. I enjoyed it. And if you haven't seen it, check it out. You can still get it on your local cable provider. You can get it on the Fight TV app. Try to avoid the spoilers before you watch it. And talk to us so you can you hear this podcast, make comments. I've had fun being here. How about you, Kyle, being a guest? We've heard everything from Mae Young love to decrepit erections. Hey, this has been a blast.
Great times here with the TNA Asylum Heelcast guys. A lot of fun in the chat box. I wish the listeners, maybe one day we'll have some sort of interactive experience where the listeners can check out our chat box and see what's going on there during the show.
Oh no, then it'll be an NC-17 rated podcast.
The social justice warriors of 2016 will take us down.
Kyle, all I got to say, buddy, is you started it. You started it, and you started it.
It's becoming program tradition now. I'm liking that.
I think it's been a great war between Kyle and TNA, dude.
It's not really much of a war.
Kyle's a little more sophisticated about his. But...
Well, I posted Kong tits, Mae Young. I don't know about that. He posted some hot chicks.
But you know what, guys? We don't see you guys as guests on our show. This was a joint show, in my opinion. It's been an honor having you guys as well. I've had a blast. Shout out to BQ as well and FK9, who aren't with us tonight. But, I've loved having you guys there. And definitely FK9 and Will make me want to have to step up my game with some of the analogies and, comments that they came with last week. And it's just been awesome, man. And thank you guys for doing this with us as well.
Well, on a personal note, I will say that Kyle has definitely made me step up my game in the chat window. Definitely put me on notice and said that I had to step up. So I hope I stepped up to the plate and provided you with plenty of chat window entertainment this evening. And guys, look, we thank you for having us on the show. We're happy to be here with you. We're happy to do the joint shows. It's great for us. I think it's great for you guys. I think it's even better for the listeners. Everybody gets to hear, it's one thing to listen to one podcast and it's another thing to listen to two podcasts. But when you take the personalities and you mesh them together, you get something that's different that you don't get to hear all the time.
Orgy.
And so, and you get to hear orgies and you get to hear all kinds of different things. If you listen to the Heelcast, you're going to get a dick joke. If you don't like dick jokes, I can promise you, do not check out the Heelcast. But been an absolute pleasure. The unlike FK9, I will say the pleasure's been all of ours. I'm sure FK9 would have something different to say. Probably have to do with my decrepit erection this time. Who the hell knows?
Well, we thinking as well. I'll just turn back over to you two to take us home.
All right, guys. Right. Go ahead. You want to hit it, Raven Fact?
No, it's all you, buddy.
It's all me. He always makes me do it. Look, everybody, on behalf of the Heelcast, that's myself and Raven Effect and all the other Heelcast members. We've got Griggs, we've got Hurls, we've got our good buddy Numero 47, who was really hoping to get on this particular show. On behalf of Wake Chambers, who's going to be returning to us soon, and our buddy Old School Heel, I say thank you very much. Folks from the King of the Mountain podcast, Will and Kyle, pleasure as always. We wish BQ safe travels home. He traveled this tonight to get home from Bound for Glory. Great to have you guys on. Special thanks out to FK9. But folks, it's been a great show. Tune in, and we'll catch you next time.